Welcome to the final module in week 1. This is module number 7, and this is a transformational, life-changing, hopefully something you keep with you for the rest of your journey, your inner child worksheet. This really is going to help you understand your true, authentic, core essence and the soul goals, not the world's impact that they've had on you of making you desire things you might not have even wanted. This is going to be something you can carry with you, and it's really about what interested you most as a kid. Everything that's really worked for me, healing my own self so I can then show up for others and heal others. You guys, I did multiple months of inner child work guided with a self-transformation guru by the name of Inner Yats. And really what he did was he guided me through different journaling methods. It was basically an 8-week group therapy of intense inner child healing where I reparented my own inner child. And believe it or not, this has had the most impact on my own healing and self-transcendence journey. Because what do I look like wounded and in denial about my own childhood pain if I'm going to go out there and serve the world? So I want you guys to take this extremely seriously. If you're someone who thinks you have it all figured out and you're the cool guy, you're just like me. You're the person who will actually feel the most pain, because we all know what it's like to wear a mask. For myself, I was looking successful to the external world, but when I got home after years of pursuing my worldly goals, when I finally realized the truth that they didn't fulfill me, that was the dark night of the soul. If you're familiar with different types of depression, I'll tell you what, if depression was real, then I would still be there today. But the truth is, many parts of depression can be solved simply by following the steps in this program and following your own calling of your conscience. When people decide not to listen to their authentic voice of God, the authentic voice of the universe, and not follow their own conscience, that's when we become depressed shells of ourselves, ashamed and guilty and low vibrational. If you're familiar with the frequency scale, you know shame and guilt is at the very bottom. As you move your way up, you start to get to anger and acceptance, and that's where we want to move up, is to acceptance. Once you can accept your current situation, then it's time to transcend. We got to really focus on raising that vibration one step at a time. And acceptance was as close as I could get at this time, because I couldn't even imagine or fathom my 10.0 life when I was at rock bottom. So acceptance was a great step to get out of that shame and guilt that I had created for myself by having bad habits of anything, whether it was indulging in food, all the things that I knew weren't what interested you most as a kid. What hobbies did you enjoy? I want to introduce a concept called shadow behavior. This is when we unconsciously or unknowingly judge others for the very thing that we wish we could possess. The things that we judge and critique in others are the things we secretly cannot accept about others. And often our own judgment on others shows us our own weaknesses, soft spots, and insecurities, if we are willing to take the red pill and avoid that denial and that popular delusion that is society, modern society. And this happened for me. What I envied in others was, as a vegan with dreadlocks, no tattoos, judging people who were skinny. Meanwhile, I was extremely skinny, and I found myself judging people who ate meat, who had tattoos, and who lived on the beach. And now, I am the furthest thing from vegan. I cut my dreadlocks, I got blasted with tattoos, and I moved to Mexico to live on the beach. I'm truly the opposite of my old me. And I'm the exact person that if I saw myself now, and I would see this version of me and judge me, my own self. And this is the concept of your shadow self. It's a great chance to look at life like a mirror and realize the quote from Bedros Keuilian. He says, life is a mirror, not a window. And if you're able to look within, we can find true growth. Self-honesty is the only path to growth. There is no growth without self-honesty. That life that you daydream about, if you're able to fully be aware, this is the part of the inner child worksheet where you can really get clear on your soul's goals. Not that life that you've been imagining as the last couple years, because what I found was the things that I thought I desired were simply a byproduct of what society was telling me to desire. and it left me astray. I was run amok. I was led astray. I was bamboozled by society's program of the matrix attack of what everyone says society tells us to desire. It built up my ego, and I went and bought a $82,000 Tesla, and I thought because I was cutting celebrities in a penthouse and a famous barber on Instagram that I had self-actualized myself. The truth is I was living in denial. I knew that I had a higher calling and purpose that I was avoiding, but I stayed comfortable. And for you, this might be comfortable and you think your physique is good. You know you want to speak better. You know you want to have a better circle of friends. You know that if you're the best, most high-performing friend in your circle, you know you should get a higher friend group where you're now the small fish and you're around a bunch of sharks. You know that your current situation is not cutting it, but you're staying in your comfort zone. And I'm here to tell you that we do this out of fear. We do this out of that lack of self-love, because if we truly loved ourselves, we would do whatever it took to give that inner child his fullest potential so that he can one day meet that superhero version of ourselves and bridge that gap between our inner child and our 10.0 self. The things I imagined as a kid and dreamed about in my childhood was saving and changing lives. I always said I wanted to help people one day. And I realized I was saying I wanted to save and change lives. I wanted my voice and story to impact people worldwide. And I used to think I was selfish for wanting that. But I realized from a young age, that kid in Ohio, he hated his life so much only because he knew what was truly possible for him, and that he felt cursed from the day he was born. I felt like I was born in a chaotic whirlwind where there was lack of guidance and I had no one there. Like life was a test with no tutor. And all I felt was pain in my childhood of my life not looking like how I wanted it to look. I saw an example of what not to do from my brothers getting locked up in juvenile hall, from my mom not being home, so I was out running around, and I was really getting myself, thankfully, into the correct environments, but my brothers not so much. And I just felt like an outcast because my family was looked at as less than. I always tell the story of in 4th grade, we went on the football trip, and there was a hotel that the football team stayed in. It was a nice hotel, and when I walked in, I never seen anything like it. There was palm trees. It was beautiful, and I knew right then and there I want to one day live on a tropical island. I want to live somewhere where the weather is nice and there's palm trees. I saw palm trees for the first time in my life and fell in love. I do believe in love at first sight because that was a sole goal right there. When I was 10 years old, I knew one day I'm going to live somewhere tropical, and I'm going to be able to travel just like how we're traveling for this football trip anytime I want to. And this is where the pain came. There was only enough rooms in the hotel for about 98% of the team. 2 families had to go to a different hotel because there was simply no room. And who made the call? To this day, I'm not sure who made the call, but my family was chosen to stay in a different hotel. And that was a blow to my self-esteem like no other. Right there, I already had a hypothesis that I was less than because I didn't look like anybody on my team. And I knew that when school came back after Christmas break, I didn't have the things that my friends had. So I thought to myself, there's a concept called neuroception. And that's where a child doesn't understand the difference between his circumstances and his own worthiness. So I just chose it by myself. I have to prove through my habits, and I have to prove through my achievements one day that I'm worthy, because right now I'm not worthy. And this is one of the most clear memories I remember, where I started that inner child wound. There's different types of wounds. There's a father wound I had, an abandonment wound I had from not only my father leaving me, but I thought because my mom was working 2 jobs to take care of my 3 brothers and I, that she was abandoning me. I didn't know the difference. When you're a kid, you don't understand these things. And so I just took them all as blows to my self-esteem and self-worth. And I decided through this conditioning, my way of coping and self-soothing was to plan my future and to say one day I will be a success and I will never feel like this again. I will never not be accepted again. And this right here is the difference between a true soul goal versus a goal where you've been conditioned by your trauma or your experiences or society. And what this really led me to was finally realizing the truth after all that pain and dysfunction. So after experiencing the ego, poverty, and bullying and chaos and dysfunction in my home and all these bad experiences in my childhood, that's what gave me the desire to ensure that I never experienced that lack or rejection again. I built that desire for an acceptance and respect through my accomplishments and status, which barbering would later fulfill. By 23, I was making $200,000 a year, cutting the world's biggest celebrities. To this day, people will ask me, hey Joel, who are you gonna give Tusi to? I know you can't cut his hair anymore. And I was able to give all that up once I realized the truth. What is the truth? When the biggest anticlimactic and discouraging realization happened after I peeled back a layer of my purpose, which was to heal that trauma and realize that after a decade of worldly pursuits of barbering, making me a success in everyone else's eyes except for the man in the mirror. And that's when I saw I was a grown man, but in the mirror I saw a little child in a boy's body. And that day I took the red pill and I haven't looked back. And taking the red pill for me was realizing I had to go on a journey of becoming masculine. That in this modern world, they're afraid to let men be men and women be women. And somewhere in between, we've drawn this imaginary line where each side is drifting towards the middle and there's less polarity. There's men who are not embracing combat, not embracing conquest, not embracing their stoic virtues, but they're being told to side with their feelings. And so as a result, here's a picture of me. I had my nails painted, I had red hair, and I was a pretty boy. And look at how I'm wearing these clothes and I don't even fit into them. I mean, there's a quote by Tristan Tate, and he says that his best advice for looks maxing, or as they called it, fashion, is to be in shape. Clothes don't look good on any person until they are in shape. When you are shaped like a man who's in shape, your physique, then you can get a fitted suit and you will look as good as a guy like Tristan Tate looks. That was his advice. And the truth is, when I realized this, I was so discouraged that it's going to take me that long to improve my physique. I almost decided not to do it, and that's where I almost took the blue pill. But my advice to you is that there's really no other choice. And since this time, I've been far more in alignment with my destiny and my calling, and that's when I became what I call the purposeful man. What I thought was my priority, cutting celebrities, disappeared as I sold my business and sold my car and ended my lease, gave up all my belongings, and did what my inner child wanted me to do since that time in Florida on the football trip when I was 10 years old, to go live on a tropical island on the beach, helping people, which at the time I realized now was to save and change lives through this Purposeful Man and coaching program. What my inner child wanted me to do was create a community for people to heal again, to gain awareness and break through and self-actualize, so that one day they could pay it forward. Not for me to get the exposure and all the validation, but so that I could help people to help other people and fulfill my karma on this earth and die a proud and confident death. There's nothing I want more. My goal is to go to the end of my life and be bruised up and banged up and fully have used this body, this meat suit, fully have exposed my soul to the sun, opened the doors of my soul to the sun. For my days are numbered and I will live them accordingly. That's a great quote from Seneca. And the point is, I don't want to go to the end of my life by trying to live a long life without fulfilling my karma. I want to live fast, and I'm not in control of how long I live. And that's a crucial mindset shift that I made when I decided to stop being vegan, which I thought would help me live long, but really I wanted to gain muscle. I wanted to be masculine. I wanted to go conquest. I wanted to win. And I decided to start playing to win. And within a couple years, I gained 20 pounds of muscle. I saved up enough money to retire from barbering and fulfill my life's calling of helping others to self-actualize. And a person who has self-transcended themselves, that means they help others to become the best version of themselves and or self-actualize. No longer working for money, but making that destination money, but using the money to achieve a mission and a childhood dream. that is your inner child's sole purpose. So when you were a kid, what were you dreaming about being? Right now, you may not remember the exact habits and hobbies that you had as a kid. I invite you and I encourage you to call a family member, call someone who knew you when you were a kid, and ask them, hey, what was I so into? What was my biggest hobby? Like, did I used to sing or dance a lot or draw? And I invite you to do those things as often as you possibly can. Don't take life so serious. It's okay to embrace that vibration and essence of your inner child, because the truth is, when we can do this, we will go farther. We will walk in rooms and be accepted more than we ever would if we tried to be the tough guy with perfect posture and not talk at all and just look cool. I know what that's like. And I tell you what, when I can embrace people with my true self, there's nothing better on this earth than to truly live. And one day when you're on your deathbed, I want you to really think about how you would feel. Would you be glad that you were the tough, cool guy? Or would you say, thank God I was able to give my true self? Think about what that dream life was for your 5-year-old self, for your 10-year-old self, and that dream life is the true dream life of your essence. And if we can get back to that inner child, what he was dreaming about, what she was dreaming about, and create that from that place, as opposed from the conditioned life of what we're told to want, like cutting celebrities and buying a home. Nobody is born and says, yeah, one day I want to buy a house. No. Get a 9-to-5, get a job, go to college, buy a house. These are the conditioned goals of society. And now, if you listen to music and watch movies, the goals are sleep with a lot of significant others, have a ton of experience, and then buy a lot of stuff, make a lot of money, buy a lot of designer clothes, spend all your money on things that aren't fulfilling your purpose, but keeping you as a slave to the matrix. And the truth is, after I lived that way, made all the money, spent all the money, looked in the mirror and realized I didn't actually self-actualize or transcend myself, I had zero fulfillment. What I want for you most is to find true fulfillment in meeting and start living free. And this program's North Star to living free is to help you design and create a life where you truly are achieving the true version of freedom, not just financial freedom, but location and time freedom. And freedom to me looks like not needing to work for money. So I was able to lower my expenses, move to a place like Sayulita, Mexico, where I barely need any money to even survive month to month, less than half of my expenses in LA. And I'm able to create a dream life. The truth is, we cannot do this halfway. If I was to try to keep my clients and everybody happy in LA, I would have stayed there. But I had to tell each client in person, look, bro, this is going to be our last haircut. Even the celebrity clients, people with millions of followers and millions of dollars, not to mention all the clout to come with it. But the truth is, that acceptance that I would get from being in photos and being in the finest hotels in the world, backstage at the concerts with Tusi, you name it, it would not equal to my ability to self-actualize and transcend, which is what I must do. And if that means walking down a mountain that I just climbed, then so be it. We create this life from a state of abundance, and we can't create our dream life from a state of lack. Right now, what I want you to do is write down all the moments in your childhood you remember experiencing flow state and bring them into your daily life. And then I want you to bring those to the call this Sunday. That's all for this first week of the mindset modules in the program. Each module has a crucial and critical step that truly helped me go, not from the tactics, not from the how, but the who. The true transformation of that kid in Ohio to the man in Mexico who is closer than he's ever been to his dream body, his dream life, his dream physique, his dream finances, his dream partner. I mean, truthfully, I do this all just so that I can finally get that acceptance and love that I've always been searching for. I just found a more healthy way to do it by helping others. That's what I want for you, is to find a true purpose and why that will motivate you and help you to never stop feeling like that 10.0 version of you is possible. Because truly, every day that we take, even in a setback, struggle, or failure, is still a win and a step forward. And that's what I want for you, is to have this positive optimism and hope. Never give up the hope or the faith. I believe in you. and I'm rooting for you, and I'm always going to give you the most compassion and compression I can, never letting you live to less. Never forget that inner child in you, and never forget that 10.0 self that's in you. Time is an illusion, and both of those people are both with you at all times. That's all for this week in the module. All the modules this week, make sure you complete them in full and live in excellence with these modules. And the person who does this lives in excellence. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Thank you guys for completing the first week, and I'll see you in week 2.